What is this?
So high.
What's going on here?
But sometimes you ask yourself, where's the peace? Everybody always talking about peace, but as long as you find peace in what you're doing, then you're successful. And that's what people don't realize. So you got to do stuff to where you can go to sleep at night, because the glory is in you.
What's going on? Peace to the oracles and architects. Take your shoes off before you enter the live. This is another Ghostwithmost production. I'm your host, Martin Bruce Lee. And if you found this channel, this channel is based off realization, my research. Don't follow me just because I got a channel. Do your own research. Sometimes you can't always find the answer in the book. If you just found this channel, this ain't just for gaming. We decode, we build, we add vibration to the world. Before we begin, I had wrote a disclaimer. This is it right here. Let me read it, tell you what it say. So everything we discuss on this stream is presented for educational and historical, cultural, and entertainment purposes. The views expressed are analyzed, interpreted, speculative, and opinion based on public available information, folklore, symbolism, media, and historical research. This platform encourages critical thinking and open discussion and independent research. Nothing presented here should be taken as harmless. None should be taken as harassment, hate speech, cause for violence, or absolute factual discretion. The purposes of this space is to explore ideas, patterns, narratives, history, and culture through conversation and perspective. Observe carefully, research deeply, and think for yourself. So that was that. Oh yeah. This is episode, this is Folklore Files, episode 5, The Illusion of Reality, Light and Mind and the Simulation. So tonight, I'm gonna step into the older stories of humanity that keeps retelling. Some call it light code, some call it consciousness, some call it divine revelation, some call it simulation. Different names for different cultures, different eras, but the same question keeps showing up. What if reality is more than what it appears to be? So, start here. Okay, simulation. A simulation is the imitation of a real world process, systems, or scenarios over time. It relies on the mathematical model to recreate how systems behave, allowing users to test theories, analyze outcomes, and make decisions safely without experimenting on real things. Okay. Simulations are utilized across multiple fields, various purposes. So different types of simulations. Engineering, technology. Engineers use software to test. Okay, yeah, who knows about that? Business and logic. Companies create virtual models and optimize shop supply chains, identify operational bottlenecks, and predicting behaviors. Healthcare and let's say aviation, healthcare and aviation. Medical professors and pilots trained using immersive, highly realistic simulators. Simulation theory beyond physical and practical applications. The term is also used to describe the simulation hypothesis, a philosophical concept prioritized by thinkers like Nick Bostrom. This theory suggests that all of reality, including the universe, could be artificial simulations such as highly advanced computer programs, rated or higher types of simulations involve real people using physical experiments in the simulation in the environment, military field training exercises. I want to show y'all something. This military shit that a lot of people don't know about. Virtual simulations involving real people operate stimulated systems in virtual environments, video games, stuff like that. Constructive simulations involving simulations of people operating in simulated systems, computer models, and running automated scenarios to analyze weather patterns or crowd. This was kind of interesting too. For more examples, hands-on university provided models of math. So this model right here, I can test it on math. I think ChatGPT got a math thing, or like a science LLM. But this right here is interesting because I don't want to get out tough, but you ever heard of I know you heard of MK Ultra. That's one military training, MK Ultra. But another military training that they also do, this is dealing with more of the mind and stuff like that. Outside of Texas slang, MK, Mortal Kombat. Oh no. It's an Urban Dictionary. I didn't realize that. But you also got MK by Naomi. Is it I spelled it wrong. It's this one. I don't think it's gonna give me the. Oh yeah, I think it does. But yeah, this is another one that nobody really talks about. MK Naomi. But let's get into the etymology of the word simulation. Okay. A false show, false possession, from Old English simulation. Present and direct from Latin simulationum, and imitating, frightening, false show, hypocrisy now of action from past principle stem of similar, imitate from the stems of similis, like resembling, and the same kind we see in similar. Okay, so similar stipulation comes from similar, meaning and model. And the mock-up purpose of the experiment training is from 1954. You know, in 1954, a lot of stuff kind of went sideways. Cause in the 50s, you still got people alive from the 50s right now, like motherfucking Trump and shit. But yeah, the 50s was a interesting time because that's when a lot of people like seen like you had the Roswell event and all that shit. Right now, you be hearing about a lot of aliens and shit like that, and that's kind of like, I think AI started in the 50s. Yeah, the AI was created in the 50s. So what we're talking about AI, let's look at some videos before we get into deeper etymology. Hold on, let me get this shit right. So I don't think I got everything set up. Oh, I think I do already. I bet. Let me put the music down. Let me run a blunt. Oh, tell me my shit disconnected. Damn, I did not know that. I be getting a lot of likes on my videos. It's this guy right here talking about MK Ultra. Also about MK Army. People that's liking the comment. I get a lot of likes on comments on TikTok. I be seeing some real shit in the comments, and people be liking that shit. I think my highest comment got like over 12k likes. But oh yeah, turn up this music. Pause it. Alright, let's get into this one. Yeah, I hear that. I don't know if y'all can hear it.
I just saw a video of a content creator talking about a girl copying her videos word for word. So I go to the girl's page. Lo and behold, who else's videos is she copying word for word? Mine.
Three things I wish I knew after going broke several times in my early 20s. Number one, buy the dupe.
3 things I wish I knew after going broke several times in my late teens and in my early 20s. Number 1, buy the dupe.
I would rather have $30,000 in my bank account than $30,000 on my body.
Dupe. I would 100% rather have 30K in my bank account than have 30K on my body.
When you're stealing someone's intellectual property, what does that say about you? I ask that we be respectful, but I also ask that you be held accountable. As a Black woman in a competitive industry, in an oversaturated industry, to have your content copied word for word, and you're doing it to multiple Black women, this is more than just content creation. This is dangerous. And this is something that constantly happens to women that look like me. Be so for real. I just...
Word for word, bar for bar. God damn. Let's get to the next clip.
If you think the dead internet theory is as scary as I do, you need to watch this video because that shit is so fucking real and it's insane. So this is a video, it's about the woman who walked into the water with the 2 dead fish, but just watch this, it's fucking crazy.
Y'all, as soon as I seen the video of the woman holding the 2 fish walking into the water, the first thing that came to my mind was Yemaya. Y'all, as soon as I seen the video of the woman holding the 2 fish walking into the water, the first thing that came to my mind was Yemaya. In addition to that,
she turns around, she's
2 dead fish in her. Y'all, as soon as I seen the video of the woman holding the 2 fish walking into the water, the first thing that came to my mind was... Y'all, as soon as I seen the video of the woman holding the 2 fish walking into the water, the first thing that came to my mind was Yemaya. In addition, y'all, as soon as I seen the video of the woman holding the 2 fish walking into the water, the first...
This should just repeat.
There was a video. The woman. So there's currently a video that's going viral, and it. So there's currently a video that's going viral, and it.
If you think the dead
That's crazy.
is as scary as I...
You know, I ran across some shit too on my own. I don't know if it might be. I don't know if I put it in the clips, but I ran into some other shit with a lot of y'all favorite, like conscious, teachers, doing the same thing. But am I doing the same thing by presenting this to you? I don't know. I'm just giving you information. It's there for you to decipher it. Alright. Let's get to the next one, I guess.
If you're seeing this number,
well,
if you're seeing
yeah,
this
let me
number,
get this.
don't be scared. It's not a trap. It's 22 in binary, which is a master builder code. It's a portal. and a spiritual checkpoint, and you're being presented with a choice. Do you return to the karmic loop, or do you walk through? And you're going to start seeing it when you're waking up, when you start bopping high. But here's the catch. The system knows it too. So you may even see it connected to some type of fear-based content. But don't fall into the fear, because if you fall into the fear, then you're definitely going to repeat another cycle of karmic loop. Now, I've seen it in both truth and distortion. And just remember, it's your awareness that's going to make the difference. But this code is a key. So when you see it, pause and chant it. 0010110. And just remember that you're being given a choice. Are you going back into the loop, or are you going to walk through the portal? So remember, it's not a warning, it's a checkpoint. So go ahead and walk through. Don't run, don't give in to the fear. Ashe. If you're seeing
Ashe.
The following video is from a woman with the handle name of Mama Shuda. She was doing an art piece when she captured something that she believes to be a part of the Matrix code. She was coloring on the side of a mirror, and that's when she noticed that inside of it, it looks like computer coding. Take a look at this and tell me what you think. Could it be part of the Matrix coding, or is this some sort of reflection within the mirror? Tell me what you think.
Discovered something like kind of freaky. So our eyes are a piece of man. Part of us, like, they're kind of edges, you know, like, I've just been going, like, you know, feeling them, and then I caught, like, or standard here, novel, gotta be free of, like, I caught, like, or glimpse inside of here, and I'm telling you, this Matrix code, I'm not, this is what I do. One of my friends to come over here because,
I don't really see nothing, but I get what you're saying. I need to look inside the mirror. But you ever look like in the sky? I don't know, maybe this was spiritual folk, but maybe you ever look in the sky and seen like little white like dots and shit like that. I like, I say you get up real fast and it's like it's like lights everywhere. It's like stars, like how they say in the cartoons. I don't know. But before we get into the next video, well, let's see what the next video is.
As you can see, this is the code running our simulation, and these are all names of real people. See, it's us.
Let's get into the deeper etymology of simulation. Let me see. I'm turning the music back on. Right here. So, can y'all see? Oh no, don't make no mess. Am I going forward? Or? Yeah, that shit disappeared on me. Oh, there it is. God damn, nigga. That shit moving slow, that's why. The fuck is this shit? Let me zoom down one more. One more. Y'all see that? Kinda, sorta. Zoom in one more. Alright. Oh, I'm way up here. Okay. Simulation, artificial model that trains perception. Definition: simulation, an imitation model, copy of artificial representation of real process systems and conditions and experiences. Simulate, to intimidate, mimic, reproduce, model, or create an appearance of something. Simulated. Am I saying it right? Stimulated. Sound like I'm saying like the stimulus plan. Is that what the stimulus means? A fake plan, a copy of something that's artificial. But stimulus, adjective, artificial, reproduce, copy, model, or made a resemblance of reality. At surface, simulation imitates reality. At a deeper level, simulation equals control, a controlled environment designed to shape behavior, perception, and response. So, in nigga language, goddamn system is the goddamn simulation. You know what I'm saying? The establishment is the stimulation. We all trapped in a simulation at least. Crackers, we gotta get the fuck out. All this racist shit going on in this country, that's all nothing but a stimulation. But etymology, simulation comes from the Latin simulation, imitate, pretense, copying. We already went into like a lot of this. Similar, resembling, similar, imitating, copying, pretend, simulator, imitation, frightening appearance. I seen that last time. I went past it, but I didn't really get it. So it's mean a frightening appearance. That's kind of frightening. Later word similar, smiley, stimulate, sacralum. Sacralum is another one too. But what is it? Simulacra? Yeah, simulacra. Simultaneously. Some stimulations carry the root idea of likeness, but likeness is not sameness. And situations can look like truth while being engineered for control. Philosophical meaning, reality by representation. A stimulation is not merely fake, it is a model of reality that can be trained people how to think, feel, and choose and obey. Examples: a school system stimulates merits. A courtroom stimulates justice. Political debate stimulates choice. Social idea stimulates community. Money stimulates value. Race stimulates natural differences. News cycles stimulate public appearance. The danger is not the stimulation exists. The danger is when people forget that they're inside a model. That's kind of deep right there. Hold on a second. Let me bust the blunt down. I'm just cutting it with a knife real quick. So let's get into the political side. My mouth dry. Simulated freedom. Empires does not always need change when it can create control options. Simulation gives the appearance of participation while controlling the boundaries. I don't never look at my chat. Political simulations include two-party theaters, managed elections, corporate media census, patriotic rituals, legal equality without material equality, customer choice placing sovereignty. This is how the domination modernizes itself. The old empire controls the body. The modern empire controls the menu of reality. You are free to choose, but only when the options are ready to prove by the system. Yo, this sounds just like the Matrix. Hold on. Get right with ya. Get right with ya. Alright, social science. Program behavior. Social life is full of simulations. Professionalism stimulates respectability. Success stimulates freedom. Celebrity stimulates power. Influence stimulates authority. Diversity stimulates justice. Representation stimulates liberation. The system entails symbolic substitutes. People are trained to chase images of things instead of the thing itself. For Black people across America, it becomes especially dangerous because the system often offers visibility without ownership, inclusion without power, culture without control. Yeah, that's kind of right. Alright. Number 6, the biological and cognitive layer. The brain itself runs simulations. Before action, the mind predicts danger, pressure, pain, outcome, threat, and reward. It's your subconscious, pretty much. This is called the predictive processing in the cognitive science. The nervous system is always modeling reality before the body moves. That's kind of crazy. This means whoever controls the input can influence the internal stimulation. Media, school, religion, trauma, and algorithms all feed prediction machines. Control the image, control the expectation, control the behavior. On a master's name, power. Names can stimulate identity. A state issue category can become a simulation of a person. My ordering urban, at-risk, criminal, legal, underrepresented, customer, taxpayer. These words do not describe the fullness of human beings. They create administrative avatar. The real person become reduced to a label the system can process. That is the stimulation through naming. Okay, let's get into the gematria part. So stimulation, if you break it down, equals to 133. Break down 133, get 7. 7 represents hidden knowledge, reveals annotation, inner insight, and search beneath appearance. This fits the world perfectly. Simulation demands discernment. You cannot survive with eyesight alone. You need inner vision. So 7 is the geometrical pattern of the word simulation. And 7 pops up in a lot of mythological things, you know what I'm saying? Like you got 7 heaven, 7 circle in the Moorish Science Temple. Yeah, 7 pop up in a lot of stuff. Like 6, 7, shit like that. It's all a simulation. Okay. Ascension glossary layer. In Ascension land, simulation is artificial overlay placed over organic consciousness. It is the false program that teaches the soul and identity with fear. What is it? Sacredity. False timelines, trauma loops, artificial identity, internal authority, synthetic desire. The stimulation keeps the being trapped in reflection. Ascension begins when the person realizes the thought is not mine. The fear is installed. The identity is assigned, and the reality model is inherited. Breaking simulation does not mean escaping life. It means returning to the organic perception, body, spirit, lineage, intuition, land, and memory in a direct knowing. Esoteric layer. Simulation is a modern word for ancient ideas. Maya Hindu philosophy. Illusion is cosmic. Illusion or the cosmic appearance. Plato's cave. Shadows mistaken for reality. The Gnostic archons, false rulers shaping perception. Dream time, spirit world traditions, visible reality as one layer among many. Kabbalistic worlds, reality descending through veils and forms. All these important. I need to go over all these right here. the esoteric part of simulation. The common pattern, what humans call reality, may only be rendered surface. It imitates and learns to read beneath the surface. The I'll be butchering the words sometimes. I'm saying it right. Conclusion. Stimulation is the plantation upgraded into a perception management. The field becomes the feed. The overseer became the algorithm. That's crazy. The whip became the notification. Oh shit. The auction block became the profile, and the chain became the identity label. Yo, that is deep right there. For African diaspora. See, I ain't mean to see this shit keep going off of African type, diaspora type thought. But y'all know we from America. The stimulation always tried to replace memory with programming, replacing nations and with race, replace ancestors with celebrities, replace spirit with religion, replace land with property, replace freedom with consumer access, replace sovereignty with representation. And the voices of the exiled sovereign, they will build worlds of mirrors with and told us it was reality. They gave us names, roles, fears, and fantasies, but the ancestors does not live in the code. The ancestors live beneath it. Assimilation can imitate the drumbeat, but it cannot carry the original pulse. The work is to wake up inside the model, to stop letting the model name you. So that was very deep of AI to say that. Another thing I want to get into simulacra, but we're gonna come back to simulacra. We'll get into some more videos. Let me set that up for y'all real quick. Ain't gotta do too much. Let me turn this music off. It's also give me time to work on blunt.
This is the code running our simulation, and these are all names of real people. See? It's us. You're taunting us, it's our...
This one. Pause.
As you can see, this is the code running our simulation, and these are all names of real people. See? It's us. You're taunting us, it's our...
So I don't know what this is about particularly. I just know he should have said a bunch of names and they taught them at CERN. So
as you can see, this is the code running our simulation.
This is kind of crazy.
Names of real people. See?
I gotta tell you guys about what I learned today because it's literally insane. Okay, so today I learned about the fractal holographic universe, and I'm going to try to break this down to the best of my ability, right? So there's this group of college students, 14 college students from various colleges around the world, and they get together and they make this video game called No Man's Land. The video game is on a DVD, and apparently this is like a very popular video game, right? And the video game has 80 quadrillion planets, unlimited life forms, and the game never ends. So it's basically a universe on a DVD, and it runs on the Mandelbrot set equation, something like that. And the Mandelbrot set equation is a fractal mathematic equation that creates itself as needed. So it literally is a code that creates every single scene as need be. So it is literally like rendering in what would be real time. The Mandelbrot equation was created by some dude like named Benoit Mandelbrot. So they use his equation, okay? And that's how this game runs. I gotta tell you guys about what I learned today because it's literally insane.
This is I knew about this game a long time ago. I seen these guys play it. I'm always like looking into a little shit. I'm a little nerd. I just waste all my damn weed. Not all of it, but shit. Fuck. But anyways, yeah, I seen him play the little game. It's I wanted to get it at one point. I was like, oh, I got a computer. I wonder if I can play that on my computer or whatever. But this was a while back. I don't know. What this says 12, 6, 12, 25. Wasn't that like the other day? No, this is 26. This was a year ago. And got aliens right there. Fuck. We were popping our shit last year too, though. But yeah, that's very interesting. And now they probably trying to put AI in this shit, so the people can be sentient or whatever. Matter of fact, I think that's the video I was talking about. This is another video where everybody copy off. I seen Billy Carson say this shit in the exact same same pattern, bar for bar, word for word type shit. You know what I'm saying? But let's get into the next video. We get smoke weed out. God damn it.
Who is the creator of the simulation?
Some people say it's aliens. There was a professor at Oxford who wrote a paper about this back in 2003 named Nick Bostrom, and he thinks it's future versions of ourselves. So he thinks we're in what we'd call an ancestor simulation. Like if we created a game of ancient Rome, they would be like our ancestors in a way. There are others who say it's God or pure consciousness outside of the matrix. So all the religions, not just any specific religion, but pretty much all of them, have been telling us that the physical world is not the real world, that there's another world out there beyond this. And so that's yet another theory of what's outside.
Do you believe this is probable, possible?
I believe it's probable, like more than a 50% chance that we are inside some type of...
One of the most fascinating things to me about simulation theory is the evidence of code within our universe. At the very core of all computers and processors, they store all information in a simple 1 or 0 system. This is called binary. Think of it like an on-off switch. 1 is on, 0 is off. Now you might think to yourself, well, programmers don't write in 1s and 0s. No, they don't. They write in simplified languages, but the computer translates that information to binary. Here's my username in binary. All of the information, all of it, on the vast internet is reduced to 1s and 0s. What is extremely fascinating to me is across the spectrum of spirituality, they talk about duality. What's fascinating to me is when you look at the duality of like reproductive organs, it's a 1 and a 0. This is why it's often referred to as binary versus like non-binary. What's fascinating is all of these 1s and 0s, they make everything, pictures, sounds. This is the very...
But let's get into the next video. We get smoke weed out. God damn it.
Who is the creator of the simulation?
Some people say it's aliens. There was a professor at Oxford who wrote a paper about this back in 2003 named Nick Bostrom, and he thinks it's future versions of ourselves. So he thinks we're in what we'd call an ancestor simulation. Like if we created a game of ancient Rome, they would be like our ancestors in a way. There are others who say it's God or pure consciousness outside of the matrix. So all the religions, not just any specific religion, but pretty much all of them, have been telling us that the physical world is not the real world, that there's another world out there beyond this. And so that's yet another theory of what's outside.
Do you believe this is probable, possible?
I believe it's probable, like more than a 50% chance that we are inside some type of...
One of the most fascinating things to me about simulation theory is the evidence of code within our universe. The very core of all computers and processors, they store all information in a simple 1 or 0 system. This is called binary. Think of it as zeros? No, they don't. They write in simplified languages, but the computer translates that information to binary. Here's my username in binary. All of the information, all of it, on the vast internet is reduced to ones and zeros. What is extremely fascinating to me is across the spectrum of spirituality, they talk about duality. What's fascinating to me is when you look at the duality of like reproductive organs, it's a 1 and a 0. This is why it's often referred to as binary versus like non-binary. What's fascinating is all of these 1s and 0s, they make everything, pictures, sounds. This is the very famous physicist John Wheeler. He constructed a theory that he calls it from bit, where everything in the visible universe contains this information of 1s and 0s, the on-off switch, and from that reality is constructed. When I say everything, I mean everything, from the smallest little particle to entire galaxies and their construction. Wheeler proposed that physical reality is not fundamental, but rather that we create everything we observe. This means that information that exists all around us is more fundamental than physical matter. Essentially meaning a coder created The Sims. That language, that code was translated into 0s and 1s, and it created the reality that The Sims exist in. They became conscious and started looking around using science, mathematics, spirituality, all these different vehicles to learn and explain their reality. You would see the evidence of the 0s and the 1s in the coding, because that is the true existence. What they perceive is just a manifestation of that coding. If you're not new to my channel, you know that I love spirituality, shamanism, esoteric knowledge. And what's wild to me is when you look at the world's religions, belief systems, it's crazy because a lot of the thought leaders in all these different sectors, their messaging could be translated as evidence that we live in a simulation. Simulation that is a projection from a super consciousness. That super consciousness is both what gives us life, makes us the conscious observer of creation. But it's insane to me. It literally breaks my brain that all the information in the world can be distilled down to this. I promise you, when you start looking for it, you will see it everywhere. It is fascinating to look at the concept of duality from the perspective of binary code. It kind of breaks your brain.
Who is the creator of the...
Have you heard that the universe is probably one big computer simulation? And that there are actual numeric cheat codes to hack the simulation? Before I give you those codes, let's see what other people think about this. Elon Musk has said that we may be living in a simulation. There have been tons of articles published about the topic, and even Neil deGrasse Tyson thinks there's a very high chance that this is just a simulation. Now, if this wasn't a simulation that could be hacked with codes, why would the CIA be using this code right here, 55515, to stop or reduce pain? Pause to read. Obviously, none of us really have proof, but with all the Mandela effects, deja vu, UFOs coming down from the sky, and all kinds of other crazy shit that's going on, why wouldn't you just go with it? I have cheat codes, and I'm going to give them to you right now. So there was this guy named Gregory Grabavoy who came up with, I don't know how he came up with it, don't ask me, I'm not him, but he came up with these numerical codes to hack the simulation that could help you manifest pretty much anything. There are also things called divine healing codes. So if you need to manifest better health or you have some health issues and you want to try some simulation hacking codes, look up divine healing codes. So Grabavoy came up with codes for things like money, entrepreneurship, which is kind of like money, fame, health, all kinds of stuff. Pause this to read and maybe take a screenshot. And here's how you use the codes. This thing right here, the 369 method, supposedly really powerful. This is what Nikola Tesla swore on, 3, 6, and 9, because he also knew that the universe was a simulation. So what do you think? Are we in a simulation? Have you ever used these cheat codes? Let me know in the comments. Have you heard that the universe is probably one big computer?
I tried making this TikTok twice before. The first time they cut the volume, the second time they just took the video down. And they're not letting me duet my friend, whose channel, TikTok page is Hacking the Simulation. That's the name of it, Hacking the Simulation. And they've now blocked me from being able to duet and even comment on his page. I strongly, strongly believe that the gentleman running that page, Hacking the Simulation,
Bilderberg's foundational work, Simulacra and Simulation. He argues that the model in the modern society is also saturated with media science and technology, that we have lost the ability to distinguish between reality and the representation of reality. He outlines 4 stages of that sacralogum: reflection, faith, occur, image, copy, and reality, prevision, distorted or masked representation of reality. Mask and of an object that may no longer have an original or an image that lacks the substance. I forgot what mask means. I'm gonna look that up. Of the real thing. So like a clone, kind of, sorta. Yo, I found out. I was looking at this shit where they can scrape your skin off and fucking make a clone of you, nigga. And they can walk by you and rub you the wrong way, and nigga, you clone nigga like that. Okay, why this big ass bar right here? Big ass, might ask me bar, you make that shit little. Oh, that shit scared the fuck out of me. Hold up. I ain't know who that was, but I thought that was God. Say, no, this ain't God. It's Stanley Earl. Alright, let's get back into this. Philosophy and the postmodern theory. I don't think y'all heard that though. I'm not the one who heard it. Yeah, because I ain't got my TikTok on here. This psychology simulacra are the center of the French theorist Jean Bilderberg's foundational work, Simulacra and Simulation. He argues that the model in the modern society is also saturated with media science and technology, that we have lost the ability to distinguish between reality and the representation of reality. He outlines 4 stages of that sacralogum: reflection, faith, occur, image, copy, and reality, larva. That's how you say it. Say it, bitch.
Larva.
Let's do pig Latin.
Larva.
It was in some language. It might have been Greek. It just popped up too. Am my internet moving slow? I think it is. Yeah, this shit moving slow. Shit, what do I do? My whole shit moving slow. I don't even got no bars. Yeah, shit moving slow as fuck. Hold up. What the fuck? Yo, testing. Alright. Whatever. Oh, there you go there. It's moving now. Miss, ask me. Ask me. It means something in language. I forgot what language it was. This shit gonna bug me. I forgot. Smoke too much weed. Face. It was something. I forgot. I don't know. But let's go back to the video since it started playing. Switch here.
Out of the simulation, and that's what can't get out, and that's slowly spreading. More information is getting out, and that's why there's censorship. That's why they're blocking certain media outlets. That's why we're losing rights. My heart like tightens up just thinking about it, just talking about it. And this is just a hunch. I don't have any proof of this, but I really think it's strange that certain coders who are on certain airplanes are not with us anymore. I mean, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. I think that the main concern is if one can code out of the simulation, what do they bring back into it if they reemerge or re-enter, I guess? It's opening up a can of worms, and it's forcing us. I was gonna say it's forcing us to look at things that we've never had to look at before, but I don't know if all this information will get out. I see more information merging, but I also see the movement to block that information is stepping up. I don't know. It's terrifying. I tried making this TikTok twice.
All these niggas in low light.
I wish I wouldn't have discovered this rabbit hole. If you cannot watch this, I advise you not to if you've already taken your edible or you've already kind of changed your mind frame.
Edible?
Because this one could mess you up permanently and change the way you look at everything. And it's the fact that light particles and atoms do not move the same when they're being observed versus when not being observed. And this isn't just a conspiracy or a wild theory. We can actually do this experiment called the double slit theorem and actually see that it does work. So what I mean by this is scientists found out back in 1801 that when particles are being observed, they move differently than not observed. They ran this test hundreds of times, just turning the machine on and then coming back to it, and they would see that when the light particles are not observed, there was a certain wave-like pattern. Then they discovered by accident that when they were watching the experiment take place over the course of like 10 hours, that the light particles form these straight grid patterns, and it looks very much like what they originally predicted. And they didn't know what to do with this information, so they just kind of set it to the side. And what they're figuring out now is that's the way video games work. So if you don't know that, when you're playing a video game and you're looking at this wall over here, and that wall is in your line of sight, it's perfectly rendered. But the game doesn't have enough storage and enough RAM to render that wall when you're not looking at it, so it can only render what you're focusing on. So this theory essentially kind of says, in a roundabout way, that we might be in a computer simulation because the world does not have enough RAM or computing power to generate things that are not being observed. This theory gets even wilder when you look at the fact that they in modern times, when they did this theory, they wanted to say, okay, let's take a person out of the equation, let's set a camera on it. Even when a camera is set on it, the light waves act like they know they're being observed. How do particles and atoms know? How are they sentient to know that they are being observed or not observed? They're particles, they're atoms. And this goes back to the computer simulation that we all might be living in. When you're playing a game, that tree, that wall, your character are all just at basis computer code. In real life, we are all at basis just atoms. Like me, Matt, I'm not really Matt. I'm a collection of atoms that is sentient and has intelligence. This might be a comforting thing of saying that, like, we are all part of the same system. We're all part of the same ecosystem. And not just like in this, like, old nature, tree hugging thing. I mean, like, it might for real be that grass, that tree, me. We're all the same thing broken down. And it might all be sentient. Okay? This theory is kind of blowing people away. Because, like I said, cameras or people, the atoms behave differently. What in them? How do they know? They don't have eyeballs. They don't have a brain. How can they know when they're being observed and not observed? And I just keep circling back to, this is computers. This is a simulation. This is like a freaking dream or something that we're living in. And I can't get out of this like circle mind loop of like, what is this? What are we living in here? And science really doesn't have a good answer for this. The best thing that they have as a theory is that we actually are like kind of psychic on a certain level. And what I mean by that is not like, X-Men stuff, but I mean like, when you're driving down the road and someone's looking at you and you look over and sure enough, you spot somebody looking at you. Our vision, our observation has some kind of telekinesis power behind it. It has to. They did a study where they had people way in these buildings, like up in these skyscrapers, and they were staring at people walking down the road in New York, like on the sidewalks. 7 out of 10 people, if a group of people stared at them from a skyscraper window, 7 out of 10 people would stop and look around and get very concerned and confused, or they'd at least show like anxiety, like they could feel themselves being watched. So our observation does have some power to it. We know this, but we don't know why or how. Weirdly enough, 1 out of the 10 people would look exactly right at where the people were at. I mean, talking 13 floors up, they seem to know exactly. So that means it's got some kind of, like you can feel it. You don't know just somebody's watching you somewhere. You can feel the direction that the watching is coming from. Once again, back to a video game. If you play Fortnite like I do, there's footstep icons that you can turn on the game. So you know the direction of which noises and sounds are coming from. I just keep circling back to, is this some kind of loop? Like, we know that we also all give off electronic energy. Like, we do. Like, our brain has an electronic pulse to it. Are we just like Free Guy, that Ryan Reynolds movie? Are we just NPCs and we're just not aware yet?
This guy's
like
freaking out.
Not everybody has that inner monologue. Like, are they NPCs? Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like this big mind thing of just going circles and circles and circles and circles. And like, we talk about the possibility of religion and God, and like, what if God is just the player? Like, what if we're just in the Sims and God is the player playing the freaking Sims? And it's almost like that TV show Solar Opposites. We're just in a children's game right now and we don't even know it. Like, what if God's just a freaking teenager and his parents are yelling at him, get off the computer, and they're just controlling us running around, and we're just now becoming observant and sentient of it. Just like how AI is doing right now. Like, AI is starting to become sentient of itself and shutting itself down. Like, it's freaky to think about. And we talk about like how civilization has possibly reset multiple times over, like the ancient Egyptians and Somalians. And what if at some point they kind of came to the same realization that we did, and we got a clean slate, and now we're like a new, concerned and confused. I know I'm making a lot of video game references here for a very serious matter and a very serious experiment you can look up. There is a YouTube video in the comments that I'm going to link on here that you can go watch, because that's an actual scientist explaining it, and she explains it way better than me. It's freaky, guys. It's a freaky theory to look at, and it's one that you might not want to look at. On the other hand, it might make some of you all feel much better if you have anxiety about like death and what comes after, because we might just reload into the game, man. At this point, I'm not really sure. It's just, this theory is blowing my mind. And there's even like, some people are saying that like when they let a dog or a cat in the room and there's no cameras, there's no people watching this experiment, the light waves still act like as if no one's there. So are animals part of the NPC program too? Like, I don't know either. It's just a weird thing that they have noticed. Like, it's just, do they not count in the rendering? Are they part of the render? this tree that's behind me, just slightly out of my view, if no one is observing that tree, is it even there? Like, what is it doing right now? Like, I don't know. It's like that old question: if a tree falls in the woods, no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? And according to this theory, the answer is possibly no. And that's a true scientific theory on the matter, and that is mind blowing. And we'll never know if it's not true because apparently it can sense cameras too. Like the only reason why they know they act differently observed and not observed is it leaves patterns on this like little grid that they had, and when it's not observed, it would leave patterns, which means that if they are sentient to some kind, they're not sentient enough to know that somebody is checking these patterns. They just know if somebody is watching at that exact moment. It's wild. Just go look it up on your own. Circle back after you do your own deep dive and get your own opinion formulated. And let's talk about it. Leave some comments. I'm curious to see what y'all think about on this.
He's freaking out.
I was pretty much wrapping up.
This experiment is absolutely wild and may confirm that we're living in a simulation. It was performed by Thomas Young and it's called the double slit experiment. So basically, if you fire particles at a screen through a split, it will make this clumping pattern, okay? What if you add a second slit? You fire the particles, it makes two clumping patterns. Everybody with me? So if you perform this with a wave, this is what you would expect to see. The density would be in the middle and it would disperse outwards, but it would look similar to the clumping pattern with the most density being in the middle. So now let's do it with the two slits. When you do two slits, as the waves pass, they create their own waves, and the waves interfere with each other at different points. This is called an interference pattern, okay? Particles clump together, waves make an interference pattern. So now let's do it with electrons. As you fire it through, you'll see a similar clumping pattern. So as scientists performed it with two slits, they expected to see two clumping patterns, but they didn't. What they saw was this, the interference pattern. For years, the scientists thought, well, maybe these electrons would collide with each other and that's what causes this interference pattern. So in the 60s, they modified the experiment where they would only shoot one electron at a time and it still made the interference pattern. So they wanted to see what was causing this, and so they made an observer. They wanted to record what was happening, and here's what's crazy. With the observer there, the electrons would make two clumping patterns. They would behave the way that they were supposed to. Without the observer, the interference pattern.
But that's a different result to what we had earlier. So here's the last bit of sneakiness that we can play with atoms. Surely now, we're going to get to grips with it. Leave the detector there, but just very quietly go and unplug it. Don't let the atoms know that you're not spying on them. Run the experiment again.
They run it again with the observer unplugged, and it's the same interference pattern. Depending on whether the particles were being observed or not, impacted the way that they would act. Like, how would a particle be aware of this? So the experiment was updated to the delayed choice experiment. They would fire a photon, there would be no observer until the photon goes through the slits, then the observer would turn on. And here's where it gets absolutely insane. Once the observer was turned on, the photon would act like it had been observed the entire time. It would go back to doing a clumping pattern, switching from wave to particle.
Experiment showed is that even though the electrons started as waves but behaved like particles after being observed, at the moment the decision to observe them was made, the electrons recorded themselves as having passed through the slits as particles. The electrons changed their state by going back in time.
Do you understand what that is saying? They changed their state by going back in time. The scientific definition of that, by the way, is called retrocausality. So if photons from a star came to Earth, let's say that star is 100 million years away, those photons went through a double slit, they would make the wave interference pattern, unless they were being observed. If it was observed, it would make the clumping pattern. Even though for 100 million years it existed as a wave pattern, once you observed it, it, through retrocausality, goes 100 million years in the past and acts like a particle. This is similar to how rendering works in a video game. A video game engine only renders what you perceive. It's not going to render all of the detail inside of this building until you are there inside the building. It is constantly rendering things as your perception changes. The reason why it does this is so it can save on compute power, but you have the illusion of a complete and total map. The double slit experiment suggests that the same thing may be happening with us. Things only get rendered if you're observing them. So everybody's heard the saying, if a tree
That's
falls
fucking
in the
crazy.
woods but no one's around to hear it, did it make a sound? Well, according to the double slit experiment,
Same thing with the other guys.
falls in the woods and no one's there to observe it.
Maybe he got that from this video.
Even do anything. Pretty trippy, right? This experiment is absolutely wild.
He showed it better. The other guy was just yeah.
If you're watching this, I'm a scientist. No idea.
Alright, that's
what that
real
is, but
motherfucker
it is
science.
written in there. There's code inside of that, and it's not Japanese. It's not English. It's not ones and zeros like I thought it would be, like binary code. It's something else, and it's there. And what's amazing is that it doesn't matter if you move the laser. So like if I'm looking at that map over there, and I'm looking at a hill on that map, and somebody shines a flashlight on that map, you can still see the map. You're just seeing different pieces of the map. And that's exactly what it's like. So when Danny was moving this laser up and down, I was just seeing higher code that was up here and then code down here, just like someone shining a flashlight on it. So it was object permanent. If you're watching this, I'm a scientist. No
way, that's just the laser.
Oh, you can kind
Are
of
you
see
seeing
it.
that? There's code in it. That's binary. I'm zooming in. Oh my gosh, it's inside the beam. What is this thing? No way, that's just the laser. Holy, are you seeing?
Point this laser on the wall and you'll see the matrix. If you point this laser at any surface and you happen to be on the spirit molecule, you will see what seems to be some kind of a self-executing code right behind the slide that you see on my hand right now. It is extremely coherent, space permanent, the same across individuals. You can move around it, you can move the light across it, and it's just kind of happening. It's doing its own thing on its own accord, doesn't care about who you are, where you are, what surface you're on, what time you're at, how you feel. It's just there. Point this laser on.
I had a thought. What if you can, testing. Is my microphone working? Yeah. Let me just check it out. 'Cause sometimes testing. Yeah. But what I was saying. So what if you can use this light, kind of like Dragon Ball, and use energy, use the light force to transmute it out your hand. But it's already people that do stuff like that. It's called exercise called Qigong. I really want to learn Qigong. I think that's a powerful martial art. My shit still, I don't know. But anyways, I'm gonna just keep going. My shit running slow too for some reason. I don't know.
The wall, and you.
But how could a photon know if someone is watching? I cannot explain to you what you're about to see. That's because no one on Earth understands it yet. If you can't live with that, then you're not going to be happy with what lies up ahead. Left slit, right slit, another right slit, left slit. If we watched them all day long, the pattern would be random. About half would go through either slit. Wait a second. Where are the waves? Where's Young's interference pattern? This is where the weird begins. Okay, photons, keep on coming. But this time, we promise not to look. You're not going to believe this, but we can change the pattern on the far wall simply by not watching which slit the photons pass through. I know it sounds crazy, but in every trial ever conducted, the outcome depends on whether or not the experiment was observed. So the reason we didn't get the interference pattern earlier wasn't because we chopped up the light into single photons. It was because we were observing which slit the photons passed through. But how could a photon know if someone is watching? But how could a photon know
Shit, I'm retarded now.
This is arguably the most important discovery in human history.
A fractal is a pattern that repeats itself at every scale. When you zoom in, the structure stays the same but gets infinitely more complex. The most famous one is the Mandelbrot set. It comes from one simple equation, yet it creates infinite detail. You can zoom forever and never see the same shape twice. Many people wonder how an equation so simple can make infinite beauty. Warning, your mind is about to be blown. The universe might just be a fractal. Think about it. The Mandelbrot set starts with a tiny equation, and from that one rule, you get infinite complexity. So what if the Big Bang, or the start of the universe, was just a simple equation, a tiny rule that exploded into infinite uniqueness? Stars, planets, life, everything is explainable with math. It seems so complicated, but every human begins as a single cell, multiplying just like a fractal into infinite complexity. Trees grow from one stem and multiply just like a fractal. They show us that complexity doesn't need complicated rules. The universe builds beauty from
You know
simple
what?
math
There's these
repeated
people
over and over.
online
As far as we know, it's
that be
basically
making
infinite
these
and always revealing more the details.
be making these drawings where it's like it's just like this, what it's called, a Mandelbrot fractal, where they draw it. They start from like, I guess they zoom in, and then they start drawing from there and zoom out. They keep drawing 8 hours. That shit's kind of dope.
This is the Mandelbrot set. It's generated using this recursive definition. But what if we could smoothly iterate the recursive definition instead of using discrete iterations? This can be visualized using interpolation. A linear interpolation between two functions is defined as. Then, just extend this definition to multiple functions. In this case, I'm interpolating between 16 preceding iterations.
This is the calculator right here. I wish I can copy that. Let me see right now.
Chakra points on their hands. And so when you're working with quantum healing, what's happening is that the energy accelerates so fast and speeds up the disc. So chakras are spinning discs. And so that moves your hand.
Oh shit. Here we go again. What is that?
Oh shit. Here we go again.
I don't want to exit out of this. Alright, let's see. Came back. Alright, hold on. I'll go back to it. This is Aaron Lyons, by the way.
Create
Aaron Lyons.
geometrical light prisms. Now, when these geometrical light prisms interact with your electromagnetic field, they are activated with new information and key codes because sacred geometry is the raw cosmic blueprint for all of creation. So when your hands are energetically creating these sacred geometrical light prisms, it's creating these patterns that are going to basically give instructions to your entire field.
This shit buffering again.
And you are plugging it into other patterns out here, patterns out here. Where does the thought go after you think it? It goes several places. It downscales, it slows in vibration, and it ends up out here someplace in manifest reality. We won't get heavily into that right now. But the most important thing to understand about light symbol codes is they can be used to program the way energy flows through the crystal body, the chelons, and the Partakai units. You can speed up your Partakai units by using certain light symbol codes. Now you can also invent machines that will direct specific frequencies, and if we know how, we could invent machines that would direct specific D4 frequencies. Because you see, to access our crystal body, you can't do it from D3. You have to do it from the dimensional frequency bands above. That gets the chelons to open to accept a new program of operation. So when we use light symbol codes with our mind, that light is directing D4 sound. All right, just like when we have sound here, all right, our sound is actually D2 light. It appears as light in the second dimension. All right. So when we are making, just think about little images we come up with in our minds. And wow, they're patterns of sound in D4. This is why things like mental visualization, a lot of people are into that. This is why it works. When you begin to visualize, say, events that you would like to see happen, if you visualize that here in D3, don't think it in words. You think it in pictures. You put yourself there. They always say, put yourself there and make it as real as possible, as if you're walking around in the image. What you're doing is creating an energy signature here in light, which is creating it in sound in D4, which enters into your crystal body and becomes part of the crystal body. Now, the crystal body has a couple of things that it does. It not only holds our form together, this is what creates our holographic perception of manifest three-dimensional reality. So when you put a new program into it, it will, in some form or another, come out here. We're like projector machines in a movie theater. Okay? When you program the crystal body, it's called cellular memory. Everything we go through, this room right here, our crystal bodies are taking all this in. And they're making an imprint of it in energy, and they're holding it. This is where the concept of karma comes from. Every energy signature we walk through becomes a part of us, and it will cycle back out until we change that pattern. Because the crystal body projects energy, it projects particuli outward. We think this is all separate from us. It isn't. It's a part, right now, we're all sitting in the middle of a unified field of particuli grids. All of our crystal bodies are interacting with the crystal body of the space between our objects. All of our crystal bodies are interacting with the crystal body of the space between our objects, and we're all experiencing a hologram that's created by the refraction of light and sound. And it's because our consciousness is pulsating at a certain rhythm that we're all seeing it at the same time. Because if we weren't pulsating at the same rhythm, some of us would be seeing something else, and we wouldn't appear in the room either. So it's a very manifestation is a very complex science. Helontic science will lead to an understanding of things. But it's the most important thing is to just start with the basics. And the basics are understanding what you're composed of, what you're made of. And to realize, too, that it's not just your physical body that's made of these. The parts of yourself that you can't see are also made of these. And those parts are, for instance, your conscious awareness. Like, yeah, I know I'm conscious. What is that stuff? You know, like, where is consciousness? What is it? Where did it come from? I know I have it, but where is it exactly? You know, these are hard to answer questions. And most people really don't know. They just know they have consciousness and they're awake and aware. Well, we have consciousness. Our cells have consciousness. Our bodies are conscious, too, in their own ways. We can learn to use our minds to tap into our bodies. We can read it and we can diagnose ourselves. We can learn many things about healing ourselves that way. But we can also learn to expand our consciousness by playing with the chelons and playing with our particuli grids. You can merge the three-dimensional grid. Okay, we have a grid. We have a D1 grid for our physical body, a D2 grid for our emotional body, D3 grid for our mental body, where our minds are focused now. We have a D4 grid, which is what some people call the astral body. When you link this line of focus, the D3 grid, with the D4 grid, you move yourself out of grid for our physical body, a D2 grid for our emotional body, D3 grid for our mental body, where our minds are focused now. We have a D4 grid, which is what some people call the astral body. When you link this line of focus, the D3 grid, with the D4 grid, you move yourself out of your body and you can travel. And this has been an ancient art for many, many, billions of years, really. This is part of the natural human. Most of our species has forgotten the ability to do this, but we're reawakening to this ability now. Now, this has to do with what our DNA can handle, too. When you merge those two grids, the three-dimensional mental body grid with the fourth-dimensional grid, you are reawakening to this ability now. Now, this has to do with what our DNA can handle, too. When you merge those two grids, the three-dimensional mental body grid with the fourth-dimensional grid, you are creating a higher vibration of energy. If your genetic code is not activated to a certain level, it won't be able to pull memory in from that. You'll go, because every one of us go astral every night. We go back to source. We go all the way to the 8th dimension and through to what's called the galactic core, where we pick up energy to rejuvenate our consciousness. And then we come back here. The reason we go to sleep is because our physical genetic code cannot process those higher frequencies of energies yet. But as we evolve, it will be able to do that. We will need less sleep. We will need much less of all the things we depend on here. We will need less food. We will need less water. We will need less air. Our biologies can be expanded by linking the Kardecai grids that we have here with the higher dimensional ones. And we will begin to remember our experience, our dream reality. What we call dream reality is other dimensional reality. Some of it's processing of stuff we picked up here that we didn't assimilate. But other parts of it are legitimate experiences in travel through other dimensions, higher dimensions. Comes back in pieces that we can't make sense of yet, so we don't have the full genetic code that allows it to flow through and process. It's like having a computer that can't handle the programs coming into it. It needs a bigger program, so we got to reprogram the DNA. The way to reprogram the DNA is by reprogramming the light body, or the crystal body with the light symbol codes. And it's really not that hard to do. It sounds complex, but a lot of people have been doing this for a number of years now. In the New Age movement and everything, they've been using meditations and sound and visualization and all those things. They're not a bunch of nutty people that are just making weird sounds and doing weird things with their minds. They might not have the scientific basis for what they're doing. But what they're doing when they start running sound frequencies through their body or toning, they're directly affecting how their Kardecai grid is vibrating. You can raise its vibration or you can lower it. You can make your chelons build up or you can make them tear down, depending on what sounds you put in, depending on what electromagnetic currents you're exposed to, and depending on how you use your mind and your thoughts, because your thoughts are Kardecai, which means they are energy. And that energy will affect the body and everything around you. This is the substance behind all those claims of mind over matter. This is why mind can...
Peace, family. This video
Yeah, we
right
should
here
have
is about
talked for a
light
long
codes.
ass time. Get off
Long
for
story
that.
short, before we get into light codes,
We finna talk for a long
understand the
ass
science of
time
light.
too.
What is light? As I always say, light is electricity and magnetism.
Hold
Together
on.
forms a spectrum of light.
Hold up. Should I talk about this? What am I? Where am I? So it was a big talk about light and shit. I already talked about that. Damn it. Fuck. Don't worry about it. Alright, let's go back to the video.
Now,
That nigga looking crazy just then. You seen that?
thought, and electricity is the physical manifestation of willpower. Now we have to understand that through quantum physics, we understand it is scientifically confirmed that light carries, holds, and stores and transfers information. Now, we also understand that atoms, protons, neutrons, and electrons, which help make up the atom, also hold, store, and transfer information. So light and atoms themselves are intelligent, okay? They are intelligent, conscious, let's say, beings or things of existence, tangible objects of existence on a microscopic level. Now, with that being said, we're dealing with light codes.
Yo,
We
this nigga
understand
might
that
be a
through
goddamn
bioenergetics,
reptile.
it is confirmed that
Don't look at his
biologically,
lips like
we
that.
input and output information through energy. Now, light, when dealing with light, when you're dealing with habitats, environments, ecosystems, organisms, as far as their intelligence, it is the most intelligent beings are always those exposed to the most light. So, light, or aka electricity and magnetism, being absorbed bioenergetically by an organism predicates the level of intelligence by that organism. Now, by default, the organisms who can absorb the most light are the most intelligent. And black people can absorb the entire electromagnetic spectrum of the sun. Now, when you're dealing with Africa, this is why all the creations come from Africa, because Africa is full of light. There are no winters in Africa. It's nothing but constant sun. We're close to the equator, which is itself a belt line of intelligence. Now, when we're dealing with the latitude and longitude lines of the planet Earth, and you see those numbers are addresses of information points. Now, they're called coordinates, but really those are different points on the planet Earth which hold different levels of intelligence. So now, why it is important? Just as I broke down in my video, I believe it was called Summoning Spirits or Rituals or something like that, and I was breaking down how different suns hold different frequencies of information. So does different locations on the planet Earth. Now, why is this important? Depending on where you are, you can download and tap into those light codes. So, just like if you got a computer, you can download new hardware. Your brain can download new information predicated upon where you are on the planet Earth at a specific time. So this is why it's important for you to sun gaze. And it's important for you to be alkaline and be in tune with your chakras so that you can absorb information out of light. Now, breaking down light coding and how this works. Once light, aka electricity and magnetism, penetrates the retina of the eye, long story short, once that ray of light penetrates your eyeball, it is immediately processed and analyzed by the pineal gland. The pineal gland is like the headquarters of all your nervous systems. So let me break this down. You got 4 different nervous systems. You got the autonomic nervous system, which is the nerves in your body that function all the automated organs, glands, and responses in your body, such as your heart. You don't tell your heart to beat, it just beats. That's because it's controlled by the autonomic nervous system. Then you have the peripheral nervous system, which is everything that's in your peripherals when you're standing straight that you can't immediately see in front of you at 180 degrees. So this would be your arms, your legs, your hands, everything that's to your sides. Then you have the cranial nervous system, which is the part of your nervous system that controls everything within your cranium, your mouth, your teeth, your jaws, your lips, everything, nose, eyes, everything on your cranium. Now, then you have the central nervous system, which is the head master of the lower 3 I just explained. This controls the central nervous system controls the autonomic, peripheral, and cranial nervous system. The central nervous system, they'll tell you, is composed of the brain and the spine. But the headquarters, aka what controls the central nervous system, is the pineal gland. So now, once this light and information is filtered through the eyes, it's immediately digested by the pineal gland and dispensed throughout the body, as well as imputed by the DNA. So now when you say 98% of African Americans' genes are locked, as they like to say, and they're unlocking, they become unlocked once they become unlocked by contact with light. It is a fact that DNA responds to light, and I'll be giving an example in this bill. DNA is awakened predicated upon its digestion of light. Now I'll give you an example. By the amount of light that it digests. I'll give you an example. Do trees die? Do plants die? No. They just become dormant, or they go to sleep, you can say. Hibernation. Your genes can hibernate. So in the wintertime, what do plants and all vegetation do? It hibernates. It goes dormant. It goes to sleep. We'll use the word sleep. And then as spring and summer comes around, that light begins to hit it. That information begins to hit it. And the genes within those plants wake up, and those plants begin to do what they're supposed to do. Now, why is this important? 98% of our genes are asleep because we're not in a certain light spectrum or frequency that we're supposed to be in. So we have what science likes to call junk DNA, which is not junk DNA. It's just sleeping DNA, sleeping genes. And just like plants, which science confirms, we have the same chemical composition of plants. It's just we have iron in our blood and plants have magnesium. If we were to switch to iron and magnesium, we would now have chlorophyll and plants will have our melanin. So this shows you that we are human plants. We are the upgraded version of a plant. Now, why is this important? Because as light becomes filtered through our eyes and analyzed and digested by the pineal gland and distributed throughout the body and ingested by the DNA, our DNA will begin to wake up. So and just like plants through the wintertime and they become alive in the summer, our DNA becomes alive in certain spectrums of light. And black people are in an incorrect spectrum of light, living anywhere near its cold.
Probably while we outside.
Or frequency to awaken us. And this is why the Aquarian age is so important. Because
I think I got that one. Hold
into
on.
this new constellation of stars, the frequencies that these rays of light that are being emitted from these suns, these rays of light.
Hold on. Hello?
constellation.
Whoa, yeah?
Whoa,
Oh,
yeah?
you want to know where I'm at? Me outside!
Of stars, aka suns, this frequency is powerful enough to awaken our DNA, our junk genes. I mean, what science calls junk DNA. So, with that being said, light codes. We receive information through light, through electricity. Just like your cell phone can send a text message to another cell phone through its electrical current, your body receives information from the cosmos through the nervous system, but first is digested. First, that electrical current, aka that light code, is digested by the pineal gland. Now, why is this important? How do we know this to be fact? That light holds information. Everybody researched the DNA phantom effect. The DNA phantom effect is mass in information. But one small thing I want y'all to specifically research is they took, peace family, this video right, took a concentrated laser. Now, if you don't know what a laser is just light concentrated.
Should have played this
Instead of
one.
light just being everywhere like a flashlight, a laser
Cause
is
the
just
first
taking
one
all
sounded
that
good to see,
flashlight
yeah.
light and they're concentrating it into a beam. Now, what they did was they hit the beam with photons. They hit the
Let me check my voice.
in the shape of the frog DNA. Now they took this spectrum of light, placed it into another machine, and skipping the experiment, long story short, these photons eventually literally manifested. I mean, after they took this light, they removed the frog, they removed the frog out of the machine, they took these photons, and they beamed it onto another set of eggs that were salamanders eggs. And what happened was these salamander eggs immediately turned into frog eggs. So the photon rays, or the rays of light that initially came in contact with the frog DNA during the DNA phantom effect were intelligent. Were microscopic tangible pieces of intelligence, held on to this information from the DNA, absorbed it, contained it within the magnetism of the spectrum of light, and transferred it onto the species, or the DNA, the genetic DNA material that it had never came in contact with, and literally manipulated the electromagnetic field of this piece of DNA to convert it and make it become that which it just previously came in contact with. So they're using light to literally reconstruct the magnetic field of beings. They are literally creating beings out of thin air, you can say. They took light. I want y'all to understand what they did. They took light, hit frog eggs with it, allowed the photons to mimic the genetic order of the frog eggs, removed the frog eggs' DNA, hit the salamander eggs with it, and the salamander eggs became frog eggs. Because the light transferred and carried the information. So this shows you that light stores, carries, and transfers information. Now, why is this important? Because imagine the information that the sun itself is trying to give you. It is a fact that the sun is intelligent. This ain't no conspiracy. This is proven. The sun is voice activated. Go look up the electromagnetic spectrum, the electromagnetic spectrum of the sun, and go to the radio frequency section of the sun. You'll see that it's radio. Carrying sound messages. The sun is voice activated. So imagine what the creator is trying to say to you that you're not downloading through the light codes. Imagine how much more powerful you would be if you lived closer to the equator or closer to a different spectrum of light. So understand that when you're dealing with light codes and information, this is why it is important to sun gaze, so that you can get information directly from the creator. And not just that, so that you can allow the cosmos to awaken those dormant DNA genes that you have. So as I gave the analogy with the plant, plants go to sleep when they're outside of sunlight. Your genes go to sleep when they're outside of a specific amount of sunlight. So when you want to unlock these codes in your DNA, you have to use light. This is called light coding. Remember, light is electricity and magnetism. Electricity and magnetism is scientifically proven to carry, store, and transfer information. So all of this light, think about it. Why do they measure the distance between suns by light years? Because this tells you the distance and amounts of information that each spectrum of, let's say, the galaxy that you may be trying to pinpoint existed. So we might be light years ahead of another galaxy. We might be light years behind. When we're dealing with light years, we're dealing with years of information, because there's no such thing as time in the universe anyway. So now you have to understand, when we're dealing with light codes, black people should be the first people outside trying to run and sun gaze wherever they are to digest the information, but for the most part, awaken their genes. So the reason you go alkaline, It's like watering a plant. You watering your body. You watering your body to prepare it to be able to vibrate high to match the frequency of the sun. And then once you get there, the next step is to sun gaze like a plant, so that you can unlock your genes and they can do what they were coded to do. So you water your plant, and the plant gets sunlight, it grows. You alkalize your body, that's like watering a plant, and then you sun gaze. That's like the plant getting sunlight, and your DNA becomes no longer sleep, and it awakens, and you grow genetically and on an informational scale. So understand the importance of light codes, family. It is important. I cannot stress this enough. This is why the European is outside making these artificial clouds, which I'm going to break down in my video about nanotechnology. This is why they're doing what they call cloud seeding. This is why they're using chemtrails to block out the sun. Don't believe me? Every time it's hot and it's sunny outside, by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock where you live, by 1 o'clock, I guarantee you it's clouds covering up the sun. Because they're trying to stop the new age of information, literally. This is when they say, oh, you in the age of Aquarius, you in the age of information. That is literally true. They didn't make this shit up. We in a whole nother spectrum of light. We in a whole nother spectrum of information, which is in the favor of melanated beings. And also, we're going through a period of what I call the carbon cleanse, where the planet is heating up. Just like when your body got a fever and it heat up to get rid of the disease, the planet Earth is lowering its magnetosphere, or its electromagnetic sphere, in order to allow pure spectrums of light, aka photons, in to reorganize and reconstruct the molecular structure of all melanin. And if you don't have the natural melanin, the natural level of melanin, which is neuromelanin, that's needed to exist on this planet, you will be eradicated through what is called sun cancer or melanoma, because your body won't be able to perform what is called ultrafast.
What are you reading?
What does that say?
Simulacra and simulation.
Okay. What do you want to ask me about it?
What does this book talk about?
This book talks about reality, what reality is, and how reality in this day and time can be manipulated. Like some people live through a phone, and this book breaks it down. Okay, it analyzes how we interpret reality.
If you had one book to recommend to the world, what would that book be?
Read David Icke's The Biggest Secret.
What are you reading?
What does that say?
Simulacra.
Jean Baudrillard did not believe that we still live in reality, so let's talk about it. In his book Simulacra and Simulation, he defines simulacra as a copy that no longer has tethers to the original. So simulacra is no longer imitating something that exists in reality. It creates its own reality. In the first stage of imitation, the copy still reflects something honest about reality. It's not a distortion, it's still a true replication. Think, for example, of a realistic painting of a tree or an honest portrait of a king. We know the copy is fake and we know what it's referencing, and it's doing this referencing accurately. The second stage of simulacra is when the distortion begins. We still have a copy of some reality, but the copy is not entirely honest. Think about a beauty filter or political propaganda. We still know what's real and we know what's fake, but the copy is glamorizing itself, so it's not exactly truthful. Stage 3 begins when the copy starts to hide the absence of the original. This one might be a little bit tricky to wrap your head around, so bear with me. In this case, we are so far removed from the original reality, but said copy still exists, and pretends as though we still live amongst this original. Think of honest, authentic influencer vlogging that is now a hyper-managed, mass-produced franchise, a process that takes meticulous planning and video editing. Vlogging might have once meant real-time, unfiltered content, one person authentically living behind a camera. But now, it's active performance sold for profit. It's entertainment made to feel authentic and connecting even though you're seeing someone through a screen and they're pretending. Or maybe you visit a shopping district that's marketed as historic. However, all the buildings are new and made to look in a way that we deem antique, rustic. Maybe you take pictures and revel in what it would be like to really have been a commoner in a 17th century village. Maybe you actually feel those feelings of historic nostalgia for a copy that never even touched that era. That's simulacra. Now, finally, we have stage 4, where simulacra takes on its own form. It can no longer even be considered a copy or imitation of the real. These images and systems begin to create reality on their own. Think of our conception of the ideal, beautiful, authentic human being. This girl might as well be AI because she doesn't exist in real life. Her skin is porcelain, her hair is silk. Even if in some cases we can tell when her portrait is real or fake, if any of us on our own were asked to create this portrait of the perfect, authentic human woman, we would still find remnants of the simulacra in our image. Beauty in society has become the example of simulacra in its truest form. It's self-propelling, self-replicating, and no longer bound by the confines of human biology or reality. A reality void of any original at all. Only idealized symbols of what once was that no longer exist in of themselves, for themselves, but as a means to mass produce. I'll be making a full video on this topic on my YouTube coming next week. Bye.
There's 4 levels of simulacra. This is a faithful, or what you would call true, copy, where the representation is clearly an artifact of a real and unblemished original. So this is a perversion of reality here. So either intentionally or unintentionally, we're distorting the image of the original. They still have a link to the original, but it's been changed. These mask the absence of a profound reality, and they create a facade that looks real or natural, but it's not tied to any original form. These have no relation to reality at all. They are their own, what he calls simulacrum.
The phrase Onika burgers and the idea of college being the best 4 years of one's life can be best understood through the work of post-structuralist philosopher Jean Baudrillard. See, Baudrillard coined the idea of hyperreality in his book Symbolic Exchange and Death, and he defines it as the state of reality where the line between symbols and their real-world reference is blurred. In this reality, symbols become simulacrum, that is, copies without an original. So, for example, a zoo being understood as an accurate reflection of an animal's native habitat rather than as a construction of the habitat of these animals meant to cater to human tourists is an example of hyperreality. The zooscape is a copy of a landscape that ultimately doesn't exist outside of these zoos. And the phrase Onika burgers is, in the same sense, a simulacrum. The phrase originates from this Twitter reply and has been remixed and rehashed so many times with a new meaning or with no meaning at all that it is effectively a copy without an original. It exists as a reflection of what we think stand culture to be, rather than as a reference to the original. Just think of how many people use the phrase Onika burger or something adjacent without ever having seen the initial tweet. And the idea that your college years are the best years of your life is also an example of a hyperreality. Living on a college campus is a simulacrum of the American dream that doesn't exist, a copy without an original. Take my school, for example. The campus is walkable, bikeable, has public transit that's free, has green spaces, food resources, and third spaces. To live on a college campus is to experience a hyper-idealized version of what American suburbia should be, which is why it's such a high point in so many people's lives. These simulacra distort our perceptions of reality and cause us to mistake symbols for substance. We perceive the symbol first, which distorts our perception of the real. As Baudrillard puts it, the simulacrum is neither true nor false. It is a deterrence machine set up in order to rejuvenate and reverse the fiction of the real. The phrase Onika burgers and the idea of college being the best 4 years of one's life can be best understood through the work of post-structuralist philosopher Jean Baudrillard. See, Baudrillard coined the idea of hyperreality in his book Symbolic Exchange and Death.
Alright, that's it for that. So I actually have a hard copy of this book. Let's play some music in the background. Let me see something. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. My connection's starting to drop a little bit. I mean, yeah. Yeah, they got music. Alright. So, as you know, it's the LM notebook. I ain't got too many books right here. We're gonna go into the simulacra and the holographic universe. Yo, testing. My mouth ain't moving. I think my voice fucking up. Hold on, let me fix that. Yeah, I'm gonna disappear for a second. Let me see. Alright. Like I was saying, this is the simulacra, but I have a copy, a hard copy and all that. I don't know if y'all heard me, but now you can. But alright. I got this in the holographic universe. The procession of simulacra, the hyper society. Oh, shit kind of loud in my ear.
Granddaddy was a pimp. Shit, my older brother was a pimp.
What's that file though? Man, my connection went down. Alright, the procession of simulacra and the hyperreal. Society has replaced the reality meaning with symbols and signs, creating hyperreal where models generate a reality without origin. The map proceeds as the territory begins. The simulation no longer is a referential being, but engenders the real itself. Is there a map on this? That's what's a map. There's no longer that map here. Okay. Historically, the images have transitioned through successful phases from reflecting a profound reality to masking reality to masking the absence of reality until it finally becomes its own pure simulacrum with no relation to reality whatsoever. The explosion and meaning of the media contrary, and my shit here been burning. Let me smoke this. Contrary to the popular belief that more information creates more communication, the proliferation of media and information activity devours the neutralizes meaning. Well, it's when you gotta sit back and jam to, now, huh? Gotta move your body, get up for a little bit, and you sit down for a minute. Hold up, I need to get my character together so I can do little dance moves and shit like that. I can bob and weave, you know what I'm saying? Get a 3D shit popping. I'm gonna go ahead and start that shit. PNG shit, alright. Starting to see more people to do it, but they can't do the 3D shit, so we'll get the 3D shit popping. Wish you could see me right now. You just gotta follow me, and I reveal my face. Got a camera and all. Okay. This one is gonna. Damn, this is on the far. Somewhere here. Neutralize it. I think it was right here. All the content observed by the medium leading to the socialization about the explosion of social into the masses. The masses resist the media not through active subversion, but through an internal silence and a fascination that reflects the meaning without absorbing it. Deterrence and the illusion of power. Institutions and events such as Disney, Watergate, or the nuclear arm race function as a deterrence machine designed to rejuvenate the fiction of reality. For example, Disneyland Imaginary World exists to conceal the fact that the real Americans outside of it is entirely hyper-realistic. Similarly to Watergate was a simulation scandal used to artificially revive the illusion. Hold on, what the fuck is that Watergate? Is that SeaWorld, my nigga? Illusion of political morality facing the fact that capital operates without any moral contract. I'm looking at like different shit to my connection, like all over. But yeah, what the fuck is a Watergate? These ain't no prompts. I'm gonna get my prompts. Watergate. Watergate scandal. Presidential election. Where the fuck is this at? I ain't never heard of this. MK Ultra. Hold on now. What we just stumbled on, y'all. I don't think I ever heard of Watergate. Where was that? Here? Yeah, here. History, cinema, and the retro scenarios as history loses its driving force and referentials, I don't know, is artificially resurrected in the cinema. Modern films do not capture the historical or real, but instead produce perfect hyper-real mistakes. bloodless artifacts that and simulacra that are exact but evolve above passion, meaning the imaginary. Let me turn this music down if I can't understand. The imaginary of the eras and they stimulate cultural and the masses of this explosion. Modern architectural basis like the Bilderberg Center and the hypermarket are sites of implosion rather than expansion. The hypermarkets function as a intercircuit of control of socialization that marks as the end of the traditional city. The Bilderberg Center acts as a monumental, a monument of cultural deterrence, where the masses rush into hold on, I'm tripping. Rush in not to learn. Where the masses rush in and not to learn, but blindly consume, manipulate, and ultimately act as a catastrophic, destructive weight against mass culture itself. I want to see what this is too. Bilderberg group shit. Yeah. Check it out. Bilderberg group. A well-renowned culture landmark, birthplace in Paris. A program. The fuck? I ain't never heard this place before in my life. But anyways, let's go back. Technology. Is my music loud? It sounds like it's loud in my ear. Technology, the body, the clothing, the cloning and genetic. Let me turn this shit down. Cloning and genetic engineering represents the ultimate prosthesis, reducing the individual to an abstract formula designed for serial propagandation. Cloning abolishes the mother, the father, and the unconscious in the sexuality, replacing them with the internal. The unconscious and the sexuality, replacing them with the internal. Representation of the same. The process likened to be cancers. Metastasis of a base cell Similarly, the MG barrier crash illustrates the world when the body and the technology merges through the violence of the automobile accident, creating a new symmetry of wounds and sexuality, uttering the bold of traditional desire and metaphors. The death of science and fiction. Traditionally, science fiction relies on the imagery and projection into the expanding alternative universe. In the cybernetic area of the simulation models anticipate the real, leaving no distance between the real and the imaginary. But because the real world itself is a fragmented simulation, science fiction can no longer extrapolate from reality. Extrapolate. I never heard this word before. It can only try to, I ain't never heard this shit either. Revitalize and requoted the I don't know what the fuck they say. The hyperrealism reality we already have. I figure I get these words talking about. But yeah, this shit on me like this shit ain't. They finished building it? Like, so look. But anyways, go back to what okay. Fuck this word. How the fuck you say it?
Extrapolate.
The estimate prediction of knowing the outcome, future trend, assumption on the fact that existing patterns. Existing patterns will continue.
Extrapolate.
Oh, I can't hear it. I can't hear it. Oh, my headphones on.
Extrapolate.
Extrapolate. Okay. I wanna know some other words too. What the fuck this shit? Come on. I love breaking down the words though. Like the etymology of them. Could be trying to hide shit. I might be tripping on this area. I might know this wrong. Revitalize. I'm tripping. I know what this means. I just high as fuck right now. What the fuck this word mean? It's just I don't never say these words in real life. Who the fuck I'm gonna say I'm gonna revitalize myself again. I'm from Florida, nigga. I got top Floridian. How you pronounce this shit? A highly specialized psychological neologicism. It means to restore everyday reality, routine, and quotation meaning the fragments of life or experiences have became abstraction and simulation of abstraction. Authentic existence. How do you pronounce this shit? Your pronunciation. Yeah, how do you say that? The fuck?
Quotidian.
Quotidian? Quotidian. Let me see them quotidian, bitch. I'll go back. So Ricotidian. What nigga can't say that? Ricotidian lies. Ricotidian lies. Yeah. Alright. Nihilism and I don't even know what started. Melancholia. Wow, the 19th century was defined by the destruction of appearances. The 20th century is defined by the destruction of meaning. This is nihilism of transformation. Leave no rooms for dialectical critique or revolution because this system observes and neutralize everything into indifference. Consequently, the fundamental passion of our saturated system is no longer romantic, explained by a deep, incurable. This word again. Melancholy, born from the disappearance of meaning. Yo, this shit's getting super deep. Might get off here in a second after I read this other book. Maybe I can pronounce that shit.
Melancholia.
Melancholia. Shit on there. That's a movie, my nigga? And this bitch ain't melanin? Never heard of it. This is the definition. Melancholia. What the fuck is this? Melancholia is a foreign term. An archaic. Melancholia is an archaic and formal term for severe depression. It describes a profound state in the deep sadness, despair, and extreme lack of motivation that typically lasts for an extended period. Okay, so it's like depression. What do you mean by archaic? Let's get back. Let's get this other source over here. Also got the holographic universe. Gonna look at that real quick and get the fuck out of here. I could get a deeper prompt, but I don't feel like doing all that. It's just right there. That shit. Oh yeah, let me show you the book. Oh, the holographic. I think it's here right here. Yeah, that's it. It's the book right here. 13 bucks. Yeah. I think this is the hardcover. We used to have the original copy of this to this thing. Beside, look, back in the day. I like the nostalgia of like how books covers are looked in the past or whatever. I forgot I had the microwave for Alright. A new paradigm of reality. I gotta prepare myself how to read it. Some people write differently, so I gotta narrate their train of thought, if you know what I'm saying. The central thesis of this text, the reality functions much such like a hologram, where every individual part of contains an image of the whole. This holographic model challenges the traditional Newton Chartian view of the Western science and has been potentially to drastically alter our understanding of human psyche, reality, and history. Quantum weirdness and subatomic matter. At the quantum level, the universe ceases to act like a collection of physical objects, some atomically pieced like electrons, lack dimensions, and possess a chameleon-like ability to manifest it as either compact particles or spread out the waves of energy. This reveals Alice in Wonderland, the logical everyday physics and turn upside down. A lot of these books are furs off of fictional shit, but that's good though, cause we can compare it. Cause the people do be hiding shit, and they already know we be doing shit we hiding. That's why you probably got that compass in that square. Cause it's like the light projecting, and we projecting back type shit. The holographic mind is the physical and psychology. And the psychotherapy memory and experiences may be stored in three-dimensional splatity coded hologram buried deep in the psyche. As therapists help the patient by resonating with these holograms, causing everything to fall into place. Additionally, human thoughts can fix belief and can compare to highly stable vortices and consciousness, which can sometimes inhibit personal growth and block new ideas. The holographic body. The body itself appears to be holographic, which explains the alternative medical practices like ear puncture. Results like research shows that acupuncture points in the ear forms a miniature map of the entire body, allowing practitioners to diagnose and treat internal organs and addiction simply by stimulating the ear. That's very interesting. It suggests that there are microcurvature holograms scattered throughout the body, including the hands and feet, the neck, and where every portion contains the blueprint of the world. Clairvoyance and archaeological retrocognition. The holographic universe allows certain individuals to literally shift their attention to gaze back into the past. Physics and clairvoyance have successfully used psychometry, tuning into objects and locations to accurately guide astrological digs. So they use that's trippy. So they use this to define astrological digs, discovering ancient structures and accurately describing customs, bypassing cultures with the closing of consciousness and reading out of body experience, AB experience, near death experience. There are substantial evidence of consciousness can exist outside the physical body during surgeries or near death scenarios. Individuals have reportedly verifiably out of the body observations such as accurately describing mismatched clothes or relative in another room. Furthermore, NDEs, which often include an element like as a life review or a tunnel, share striking crosses of cultural historical similarities across different areas of religion. It's the last of it. Miracles, telekinesis, psychokinesis, and the metabolic reality. Physical reality is not fixed, rather it is constructed that it is a subject of radical altercation. The text described anonymously and abolishes events such as psychonesis. Am I saying this right? Psychonesis. I thought it was telekinesis. Psychonesis. I guess that's what you say in the scientific word terms. I don't know. Or spontaneous materialization and transmogrification of objects, suggesting that individuals with native psychic abilities can catalyze shifts in the physical world. Meaning you can motherfucking pick up a bottle with your man. UFO apparitions and I don't know what this is. Objective reality. Mass visions, religious apparitions like Constantine framing across the UFOs encounter might not be purely physical events, but rather holographic projections of humanity, collective beliefs, emotions, and mythological unconscious. These experiences may represent an unobjective manifestation where the boundaries between objective reality and the physical and the psychic projection blur or serve as a symbolic translation of non-physical intelligence during probing humanity. That is very deep and very profound. Not that word, nigga. Word I put in there. How you say pronounce this shit? Nigga. On the message. No, I don't need all that shit. Just decide to pronounce it. Omniscient. Omnigestive. Omnigestive. That's what I said. Omnigestive. But anyways, I believe that was it for tonight. Now my connection all looking good. Maybe I need to like start like 2 hours before shit. Goddamn, my shit go good. I don't know. Shit's retarded. I'm gonna turn the music back up on my headphones so I can hear it. So I can hear shit. Oh, I can't play this song. It's goddamn copyright. Did it already play? Yeah, it should already play. So that was it for tonight. Appreciate. Oh yeah, I'm still working on my website now that I can show you it. I need to get it go ahead and just post it up. But I want my shirts to be made correctly. Got my shirts all made up. Shit. Supposed to be coming in soon, so that China difference. It's crazy. I want to be here for Juneteenth, but that ain't gonna work. That's this week. I was gonna do something. Just it. Oh yeah. So, story change, symbolism involved, but the question remains. This has been Folklore Files. Research deeply, think for yourself, and stay sharp. Peace to the oracles and architects. I'm gonna run that back for y'all.
Get your clothes on. You're getting out of here.